obviously. Right, let's get going. Evening all, thanks for coming on. I think there was 14 on last week, which ain't many, but when I put it on YouTube, I'll get about 110 looks on that. So as long as I get them on there, and you all still want them, then I'm going to carry on. The Zoom meeting, the link I sent out last week, which is for about 8 years in advance. Ben had his back on for 2 days, and he had a quick look at it, and it's what they've done at the other end, the Zoom people themselves. I tried to send it out last week with just one, but everybody's got one. But Paul deleted the link from last week, thinking that was it. So I had to send him the link again. So keep hold of the link, and that'll be for a few moons yet, if that makes sense. Right, Suzanne sent me this one, I think. This is a bee's eye, and all the hairs that are coming out of the eye stop the pollen getting in the eye and all the bits.
Wasn't me, that one.
Wasn't?
It wasn't me, no, not that one.
Oh, you owe me a quid then. I think it's one of that natural summer day.
Oh, it might have been, possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
But that's how he gets away with anything going in his eye. Bloody weird, isn't it, nature? It's just like pores, the same as our skin. But it works. Right, that's what we sent out last week. And as it says there, until August 27th. So we can't change it. Ben tried to change it tonight again to individual weeks like we used to. But it's something they've done there, and for some reason, God knows. Right, this is from last week. Do you remember Paul got us these cheap from when he's a good looking mugger, yeah. And I was going to give him for his troubles a bottle of Jameson's. But Jolie's son, I messaged him earlier on, he says, fair, they'll drink it. So, Paul, it's in our raffle for the next quarter. I'll sort it out in a room. Right, my wall's coming on, as you can see. It's about as straight as a badger's tadger. But as long as you look at it from this side, it's all right. There ain't many going to look up there. Right, walloping the fence and the wall. Had a couple of dry days, not many, because we have a couple of dry hours, and then the heavens open again. But obviously when these panels are dry, as you can see there, I've got to take advantage and wallop them. Slowly we're coming down. Once this lot's done out the road, and this is going to take some drying out. But when we get the warm in that'll be walloped as well. And everything else that don't move. I've got Paul to get me another dollop of that and all. From B&Q. Right, doing the panels itself, all I do is get the trowel underneath. I know some of you think, what's he telling me this for? Well, just in case somebody don't know. This is how I lift it to put my wedge underneath. And then not paper, it's a bit thicker than paper. As you can see, that's a catalogue. But it's thick enough to go underneath. Obviously then I'll paint over that, as I've done there, and then move that paper across to the next bit. It just keeps this lot nice and clean. Any questions as we go along, just shout out as normal. I'll get it in the sides as well. Get in there slowly. I want to go down another one length of brick down here. Right, that's 2 as you can see. See it's dropping there, so 3 or 4 bricks down there. We'll see how we go. I'm going to watch this chap. There's 2 of these in what Keith sent me last year. I don't want to lose him, so I'm going to persuade him to come this road. In the post, I had this off Ben, the Christmas box. I forgot to mind myself. There's my old ones. There's my new ones. Nobody will recognise me. This is with the hound up the park on a morning. Big that stick, Rosie. What is after is these lot here. Which is where he legged it. There is. And knows which ones to go to now, because it can sniff out in the pockets who's got the treats. And he just sits there and puts a paw up, and they're all soft as hell, and they get a treat. After one each, that's it then. I tell him I don't want it to look like a pork pie. Right, back to my wall. I'm just persuading him this way a bit, because I've got to wallop that down. All the roots was alright, that's why I kept a bit away from that, just for my base on the bottom. I saw this masonry primer. I think I got this one from B&Q do it, but Wilco also do one, or I did have one from B&Q. That'll do. Because when I was walloping these bricks with these fence colouring years ago, I mean creosote, what it started off as, it ain't creosote now. But the stuff they make now, the old stuff used to soak into the timber, where this doesn't. And it's got wax in it, meaning the rain's supposed to not go into it, just bounces off. So with that, with the wax on that, it's not sticking to this wall. It's drying all right. I'll get it the amount of hours to dry. But as soon as we get a good damp or washes a lot off. Plan B. Right, working way down, come down 2 bricks there, and there's my chap tied up. There's just that bottom layer. Another panel on the fence done. It's got to be a Saturday. It's me and Russian. Obviously there's mine, there's Russian's. Put it up for it. Very good cold. And then get it. Luckily now I've got it to eat where a dog gulp it. And just ate proper. Right, Jeffrey put this on. Big partly Paul Westwood fan. I'll pick of you two when you little in Colligate crash. Thank you, Jeffrey. Obviously that's Paul on the right hand side, leading me astray. Thank you for that, Jeffrey. Our first inputter. You ready, Susan?
All right, yeah, it's only a couple of pictures really. It's nothing about gardening really as such. But hubby bought a coffee maker at Christmas. So there is a point to it. Next one. So obviously when he's done his coffee, I get coffee grounds. So that's a bonus for me. So I just put take the coffee grounds out, and then I'm recycling the pots. So that's all I wanted to say really. Next one. I think there's another one. So yeah, just take the foil off the top. I'm going to scoop the coffee grounds out, and I think I'm doing what Mick does. You dry them first, don't you?
Yeah.
On a thin level, yeah. So that's what I've been doing, and I've never had coffee grounds before, so I'm well chuffed. So for me, he gets the coffee machine, I get the coffee grounds. So that's it. That's all the photos was really. It was nothing special. I just thought it'll add to the pictures.
It is somewhat special. You've passed 10 seconds.
Oh well, it is. I suppose it is, but so it wasn't gardening as such. It's not plants or anything like that. But coffee grounds, I'm well chuffed because I've never had coffee grounds before. So
that's an extra bonus for your soil, though, for your top dressing.
Sorry, say that again.
It's a bonus for when you're top dressing your soil. Spend coffee grounds.
I'm going to put it on my compost.
And your compost.
I was going to add it to my compost, yeah. Because obviously you don't get a lot, but that little bit every single day.
That's it.
It's soon adding up. I mean, we've only had it for a couple of weeks, And it's surprising how much I've got already. So yeah, that's it.
Boston.
That's all done. Oh God. that was a picture you've obviously taken off my Facebook.
Well, Paul gave me this one. He's got it on the end of his bed on the poster.
What, he throws darts at it? Oh, that
Don't
was.
bring me into it.
Sorry.
Don't bring me into it.
No, it wasn't me. It was him.
I know it was Mick.
But no, I tried. That was about 5 years ago now, I think. Trying to make a string of onions. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Sorry.
Suzanne, where's your push bike in your hat? Onions.
And your
I need
berry.
the onions around my neck. That's what I need. That's when I was growing at the allotment as well. I'm in the garden now, so that was quite a while ago.
Lovely. Cheers, Suzanne.
That's me as well. No.
One day you're young, the next you're sitting in the edge of the bed.
That's the one I sent you. I sent you that one, I think.
Oh, bloody like that. Right, this spiced banana. It's been stirred daily now for these, is it 10 days yet? I've got my demi jar ready. So he's took down to the kitchen. Give him his last stir. I've got to get the lumps out. So my first one is that one, to get the big lumps out. Then go through. This lot is put in there to drain off a bit. I want to get as much as that out as I can. Obviously. I don't want to fill up with a water in the end, if I can help it. So the more juice you get out, the stronger the wine. These get cleaned out, and then the next one is that lot through to this lot. So you see the gum is catching round the side of it there. So that's out of about 2 jugs. That's why you need to strain it. So now I'm going to strain them again because I want more lumps out. The clearer you can get it, i.e. lump wise, the more wine you're going to have to bottle when you do bottle it. So this is one of the little bags and this is double. And the old ain't big. Plus I've got another one, Essien stock on top of that. So he's going to catch loads. That's all done. I'm now going to transfer him, as you can see, into the demi-jar, which has been cleaned out pucker. That ain't too far off. Only got to top him up with water. Say half a jug, which he did. So there's my spiced banana. He's ready to go in, and he's bubbling straight away to put that airlock on, which is what you want to see. Now I'm going to put the date on, which is 6 months time, and I'll put it on the calendar just to check it. Because some of the wines then are clear and all you're looking for to see if you stop bubbling. Some wines do stop bubbling, you have to bottle it straight away. But if it does clear early, i.e. 6 months, then you know you've got all your gum out. So they let all that gum in, or majority of it, it's going to take longer to clear. So there I'll put him with other babbies. So that, which I've took from around him, is just for spillage and kitchen paper. Just in case because he's going to get warm in here now, more than he has been, with an airlock on. So if you just start rapidly bubbling, then you froth out the top there, and that'll catch that lot. So he's been in the longest, and he's been alright. So that doesn't need that top on anymore. So from after Christmas, where I got none in the bedroom, bubbling away, I've now got another 3. And you can see that one, he is starting to clear already. Perfect. Right, our second inputter, Andy from Chester. Are you ready, Andy?
I'm ready, Mick, yeah. This is just a bit of an update on what's going on in the conservatory at the moment. Right, there's 12 air plants there hanging down from a wire from the roof. It's just, you see the banana plant on the left, and it's just a few things on top of the fish tanks, just getting them going. And on the top ledge on the right hand side, I've got quite a few coleus. The spiky plant you see just behind the coleus, that's a pineapple, which I took from a pineapple that I had for tea one day. Okay, next one, Mick. That's just looking down the end. I've got one or two hanging pots with some Tradescanthia in. I've got 3 Tradescanthia. I've got the Rubens type, the red one there. I've got the ordinary green one. And I've also got, you can't see it in that, there's another one called Wedding Veil, very fine white flower. There's another pineapple plant in there, and there's an agave right on the left, sorry, right on the right hand side. You see the green spiky plant, that one. Okay, next one, Mick.
That's a nice variegated leaf.
Yeah,
I like him.
that's a croton.
Oh, yeah, I can remember that. Oh, hang on.
That's a croton. Right, this is just a few of the sundews there, the insectivorous plants. I bought a couple, and I like having a go at propagating things, you know.
Oh, good.
That's just one tray. I've got 4 trays in all. Okay, next one, Mick. That's some more sundews. You've also got pitcher plant with you see the shriveled leaves in the centre. And on the right hand side, there's 2 Venus flytraps. That's one there and one at the back as well. Okay, next one, Mick. Right, this is on top of the fish tanks. The not very good photo, but there's 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 streptocarpus plants there that I'm taking cuttings from, and 2 African violets. All what you do with the streptocarpus, you take a leaf and you just cut it in half, but you have to you cut it into sections an inch and a half long, and you put it in the compost, standing up the way it's naturally growing, that the leaf vein would grow. And they're about a month old now, they are, something like that. Okay, next one, Mick.
So that leaf on the bottom is cut straight across as well?
I've just cut it straight across.
Yeah.
You'll see there's 4 plants, there's 4 cuttings in that one. That's the leaf cut into 4.
Oh. Like the stem you've got on one leaf, you cut that off as well?
The stem on one leaf, I've got that in there as well.
Oh, yeah.
But there's not much of a stem on it, Mick.
Yeah. Got you.
And the one in the third one from the left at the bottom, that's African violet. So all what you do with them, you take a leaf off, cut it down till you got about 1 inch of stem, and then put it down so as the bottom of the leaf is in the compost, and it'll send off maybe 6 plantlets from the bottom. And it's probably the same with the streptocarpus.
What's the temperature for this lot? About 50?
It's more than that, Mick, because it's on top of the fish tanks. they're actually sitting on top of the fish tanks, and the fish tanks are around about 25 centigrade.
Oh,
So that's all the time.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh.
next slide, Mick. That's the same again, basically, but the top left are the African violets again, and the other ones are the Streptocarpus. They were taken on the 13th, so it's just over a month ago. Those photographs were taken on Wednesday morning. Okay, next one, Mick. Yeah, that's some of the herbs that I got. Every so often, I'll just take a few cuttings, stick them in a jar on top of the fish tanks with water in. Within a week to 10 days, they've started to root, and I just stick 3 or 4 in a plant pot, pinch them out, and they'll get real bushy, and they'll grow a couple of foot high.
Okay.
Okay, next one, Mick.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Right, you can see how they are on top of the fish tanks there,
Oh,
and the coleus on top of the windows, top of the ledge by the windows, the 4 water butts to either end, and that plant you see on the left-hand side, that's a begonia, but it's taller than me.
oh, well, the leaf, flower. Or...
That's a flower on it. Yeah, they have them for house plants, but that particular one will grow a couple of meters high. I put it outside in the summer and brought it in around about October time.
Oh,
It just gives you an idea of what's going on. Okay, next one, Mick. Right, that's what I was saying about that begonia. I'm standing behind it. I've got the wife to take a picture of us. It's quite a few plants in there now. You look at the far end.
a few flowers on him and all.
Yeah, that's that begonia. You see the banana behind the begonia. Just that bit taller than me. He brought it in, but I've got these racks, 4-tier racks. So I've got stuff on each tier. But at the far end, I've got, you'll notice the plants hanging on canes in those pots.
Yeah.
And right in the foreground, hanging down, is that other Tradescanthia wedding veil hanging down, very fine. There's 3 plants hanging down from the very top. You see the leaves coming. It's a trailing plant.
That one there.
That's one there, yeah.
Oh,
That one and the far one on the right. And on the bottom right, there's 7 Dixonia antarctica, the tree ferns. They're in 9-inch pots. Okay, next slide, Mick. That's just an idea of that's my display wall for some of the air plants. There's 22 on there. Once a week when I do the fish tanks, when I take out water on the fish tanks and I top them up again, I take each one of those plants. It's just resting on a little metal ring with plastic over, and I dunk them all in the fish tank for 15 minutes. Just take them off the stand. I've got steps to get up, and then just dunk them for 15 minutes in the fish tank, and that's all they need. I could spray them every day if I wanted.
Could you get away with spraying?
Yeah, you can get away with spraying.
But you're spraying everything, are you?
Some of the orchids on there in front. That wedding veil at top left-hand corner, you see it trailing down. That's the Tradescanthia wedding veil. That's a paphlopedium you had your pointer on before? That one. I'm a member of the Paphlopedium Society as well.
Easy for
I've got a
you.
close up of that, Mick, just a flower head.
If I can't spell it, I can't say it.
Okay, next one, Mick. That's the banana. There's all sorts in there, but the coleus, I've got 3 or 4. I've got 5 different varieties, and 3 or 4 of each variety that of that 5, and they're just my mother plants who want to take cuttings. So I'll probably get 10, 20 cuttings off each one of those. That's if I want to, but the problem is you have to put them somewhere.
Yeah.
I filled my daughter's garden with them last year. Oh, you can see the Tarascanthia hanging down now, top left-hand corner, just underneath the heater. Sorry, top right-hand corner. Right-hand corner, that's it.
Chap there.
Yeah.
And that
The
one.
one that you had your pointer on the left-hand corner is another one the same as well. But you'll see the air plants, the Spanish moss hanging from the ceiling. I take those off as well, and dunk them for 15 minutes every week as well.
Hole. Put the lot in.
Just put them all in. I hook them onto the side of the fish tank, 6 either end, and the rest of them it's just soaking up the moisture.
Yeah.
That's what they recommend. Okay, next one, Mick. Yeah, it's the similar sort of view, just Okay, next one. Right. That's a lime. I've got a few citrus plants. That's a lime plant in a pot. Again, it's been brought in for the overwintering, and in the spring it'll go outside when the danger of frost is gone. Next one, Mick. That's the lemon. So I've got the proper lemon fertilizer as well, which you give them. They do like being fed, summer and winter. Okay, next one. You mustn't let them get over wet. Little miniature oranges they are. They're a bit bitter, they are, to eat. Okay, next one. Coleus. Give you an idea what they're like, so by the time you cut them back, you've got loads of cuttings. Just put them out of the way. There's enough plants in the kitchen windows as well.
Yeah. Nice variegated leaves again.
Different varieties, I've got 5 different varieties of coleus. Once you got one, you've got loads, haven't you? Or you can have. Okay, next one, Mick. That's the kumquat. Another citrus fruit. You can eat them, skin and all. They're rather nice, they are.
What's this one called?
A kumquat.
Kumquat.
Yeah.
That's going to be crossed between a couple of little chaps.
It's a cracker to have. Okay, next one. One of the problems with the lemon plants is they get very spiky. They're the streptocarpus there, Mick. How I've got those, I've got a tray which has got water in, and I've got this mat that goes into the water, and it just makes watering a lot easier.
Yeah.
So you just keep that. Just keep the reservoir topped up. It'll last a month or so. And that's it. But this time of the year, I haven't got my, what is it? The lights on to make them flower this time, because there's, Missy gets a bit fidgety like with the electric. So, okay, next one, Mick. There's a dozen Streptocarpus. That's the pineapple plant, and behind that you've got Crassula or jade plant, or even money plant, if you like. They get watered maybe once every 6 weeks.
We used to have one of them down the old house.
You what, Mick?
We used to have one of them down the old house.
Yeah, they can get quite big, they can.
Yeah.
There's with that pineapple plant, it's a bromeliad.
Oh.
And they got a centre of that. You keep it topped up with water.
Mm.
So that's it. Just a bit further up there, you just put water in the crown of the plant.
Yeah.
That's how it grows. Okay, next one, Mick. Right, that's a nerve plant, a Fritonia. That's the green version. I've had that quite a while. It got to the stage where it almost died because it didn't get watered. Give it a good water and it's come back. There's a few dead leaves on it, but I love the patterning on the leaves. I haven't taken any cuttings of that. Apparently it's quite easy. But there again, where'd you put them? There's a couple of benches that I brought in case we needed them at Christmas, because we get a couple of dozen sitting down for Christmas dinner and Boxing Day dinner in our house. Yeah. Okay, next one, Mick. That's Coleus again. Different varieties from before. I love the intensity of some of the colours that they get. They're not looking the best this time of year. I mean, no plants are really. Yeah. Wait till you get going in the spring. They'll be lovely.
And they'll look better from the top and all.
Sorry, Mick?
They'll look better from the top as well.
Oh, they will do, yeah. But I've just bunged them up there out of the way. Yeah, Coleus again. That's the red nerve plant now. Yeah, it's a little bit unusual. It's out of focus at the front, but the leaves at the back, you get the impression of it. The other one had the white, and this one's got the red for the veins, for the leaves.
Does you throw flowers and all?
They do flower, yeah, but there's nothing. It's nothing, the flowers on them, Mick. Okay, next one, Mick. That's some of the greener Coleus. Every so often I'll go round, I'll pull any dead leaves off. I mean, they only get watered once a week, they do. Same time we do the fish tanks. I've got my little step that I can get up and stand on the steps so I can get over the top of the fish tanks and water them. Otherwise I got to reach up and take them off one at a time. Okay, next one, Mick. Right, this is, I've got a very patient wife, you know. I love the birds in the garden. They're mealworms. I breed them for the birds outside. They have a few of them every day. Not everyone's cup of tea, and the grandkids think I'm a bit strange, you know. They want to go and hold my pets, you know. Okay, next one, Mick.
Like it. What's this I'm feeding him here?
That's it's bran and rolled oats.
Oh, it looks
So
a bit
what-
like porridge.
Yes, it's they're better off with bran.
Yeah.
And what you do is, I put slices of potato in,
Oh shit.
and that gives them the water. That gives them all the moisture they need.
Run.
But they're under egg boxes, as you know, they have egg boxes in there, so they don't like the light.
Can you see who's got the mic on? I'll call it from here.
Okay, next slide, mate. It might be
Really?
the Beatles if I'm lucky.
It's Ellen Gray that's causing the back chat.
Ellen, can you turn your mic off, please?
So sorry.
Cheers.
That's the Beatles. The
Oh,
darkling beetles, they are. The potatoes dried out there, it's all been changed now. But they can't fly, and they're just kept in boxes. It takes around about 6 months to get the full cycle
yeah.
from the beetles laying the eggs to the eggs hatching to making mealworms to the pupa, and then the pupa hatch into beetles again. That takes round about 6 months. So you have to have a few boxes of them.
Yeah.
Okay, next one, Mick.
We had a talk from Gareth Upcroft a while back, and he does his own charge, and he does mealworms. And I can remember him giving them a feed of porridge oats.
Yeah,
Right. Love it.
that's some of the sweet peas are sowed. Now, I sowed these, I sowed those on the 15th of October. They're just what is it, half litre, third of a litre polystyrene cup with the hole in the bottom that's been burnt in with a bit of 1/2-inch copper tubing, 15mm copper tubing, multi-purpose compost, seed planted about 1 inch down.
Yeah.
They were outside like that, no heat whatsoever. I've got the vents open all the time, and there's a bit of glass missing to the right of those at the far end. So it was really cold, -7 in there.
Oh,
They're quite hardy, you know.
that's what I was going to ask you. Cold greenhouse.
It's a cold greenhouse. You don't want to. The worst thing you can do with the sweet peas in mollycoddle them, because they'll get leggy,
Yeah.
right? If you let nature, they haven't been pinched out yet, but quite often, if you wait until the first frost are gone, the frost itself will just pinch the tips out and then send out side shoots. And the side shoots are far stronger than the main shoot.
Yeah. That's
No.
why you pinch out in it.
I've grown sweet peas, and I've grown them to show. And the very first show that I did, it's going back a few years now, I got 2 firsts and a second at national level, and I won a vase for the best entry in that division.
Oh, bro.
That's at national level. That was the late show at Shrubber Hall, the late national sweet pea show.
Yeah.
But I did that. It's, what is it? 18 years ago. It'll be 18 years ago. My sister was dying at that time, and I could focus on the sweet peas. And I had 300-400 sweet peas ready to sow. And because she was that ill, she died in the November. I normally sow them October. I couldn't bring myself to sow the peas, and I didn't sow any for about 4 years. But all those seed there are between 5 and 6 year old. I store them in the fridge.
Your own fridge.
They're my own. I buy the seed from specialist nurseries.
Your own fridge, not the missus's.
No. The missus's fridge.
Bloody hell.
I've got a. I mean, you'd be surprised what's in my fridge, Mick.
Surprised what you get away with. Gordon Bennett.
Well, she doesn't see me doing these things. But anyway, that's next slide, Mick. Right. That's the mealworms. There's 9 there. There's another one now. I did it the other day. I take the beetles out of the top one, the one on the top right, and put them in another container with some more food in and potato. You'll notice they've all got when I did it the 23rd, the 7th, that's the one that I'm using now for feeding the birds with the mealworms in. You don't like it, Mick, I take it?
That's all right, Al.
No, I mean, I've got to make room for it somewhere.
I couldn't get away with it.
Well, I'm lucky there.
You're bloody
I'm
hell.
lucky. Okay, next one, Mick. Dahlias. The dahlias tubers I had outside in the greenhouse. And with it being cold, trying to think when it was when I brought them in, it was probably be early December, end of November. Yeah, early December, I think, before it got cold, just before. And I put the different varieties into pots, and I just put some dry compost round, just so they didn't dry out, that's all.
Oh.
And I brought them into the conservatory, and they've been throwing up cuttings. So it's a little early for the cuttings really now. But that's how you do it. You take your cuttings from them, and then instead of pinching the top out, you'll use the top bit as another cutting, so you get loads more.
Yeah.
From each tuber, I'll get 10, 15 cuttings if I want. I normally put them on top of the fish tanks when I want them. Oh, notice that the left-hand side in the middle is a begonia. I've got a couple of other begonias, the leaf ones, in the middle at the left-hand side, halfway up. No, further left.
Oh, to the leaf, oh.
That's it there. The pink and green leaves, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's another one behind that bigger pot there. That's a 9-inch pot that the dahlias are in there. Okay, next one, Mick.
Just shows, just a bit of heat. That's all it needs, isn't it?
Well, that's some of the other sweet peas as well. Just 4 different varieties, that's all. But they'll, as I say, I'll come in there and I'll pinch them out, those that haven't been nipped with the frost. They're basically did outside, Mick.
Yeah.
Every so often I'll go in, make sure they're watered. Don't take a lot of water this time of year.
It's good, innit? How nature pinches them out for you.
Oh yeah, but with those, they'll be planted out mid-March.
Yeah.
But there was, when I was going to grow the sweet peas and I thought I'll do it properly, I did beds 4 foot wide, and the raised beds, but they're going north to south. I set them with a compass, north to south, so they get equal amount of sun morning and afternoon.
Yeah.
Right, and the sweet peas are planted in 2 rows, 60 centimeters between the rows. That's that's 2 foot apart, or 9 inches apart, and 9 inches between individual plants along the row, or 20 centimeters. And then there's 8 foot canes, and where it gets to the 6 foot bit, they're clipped onto a wire and I grow them on the cordon system. And that's, you only allow 1 stem. So you get 1 flower, all the tendrils are pinched off, there's no side shoots, and you get 1 flower stem coming up, and it can be 18 inches long, quite thick. And you get tremendous blooms on them. Anyway, next one, Mick. That's one of the air plants. So you can just see the bottom left-hand side, it's sending up a little pup. That's it. So that, as I say, with that, I just chucked in the fish tank, fished out after 15 minutes and just put back in that ring. They've got to be, those metal rings have to have plastic on, because if they come in contact with metal, that'll kill them. The metal will kill the plants.
Yeah.
I don't just mean copper, metal. Okay, next one, Mick. That's the Spanish moss. It just hangs down, you know, just got it hooked up there, hanging down from the wires. I bought 1 plant. From that 1 plant, I've now got 12 in there. And one of my daughters has had one hanging up in the bathroom. As I say, I just chuck them in the fish tanks once a week. Simple.
Can you add these for on the side of pots, house plants? Just for a bit of decoration and get over.
You can do, yeah. I mean, there's.
What would you use them for? Mainly?
Just to display, Mick, like
just like that, as it is.
I mean, they can get a lot thicker than that.
Yeah.
I've propagated. I've got more, but if you get one of those about that diameter, about 6 inches to a foot across.
Yeah.
Yeah. 15 centimeters to 30 centimeters across. It's quite a hefty plant.
Yeah.
And they grow in Mexico, hanging from trees, get all the moisture from the air.
I just say they were at the corner of a shower, hanging from the ceiling. Perfect, isn't it? Like your trailers.
Yeah, I like
them.
With
the missus.
But what I do, I grow my young sphagnum moss as well. The insectivorous plants are all in trays, which is full of sphagnum moss. Okay, next slide, Mick. That's another one of the air plants. Again, that's sent up up to the side. In fact, it's got another one coming in the front.
Maybe loads of them all.
So I've got 22 of them air plants hanging up. That's not counting the Spanish moss. Next one, Mick. Now that is the Pathelpedium freckles. I like them. I'm with the Pathelpedium Society. Yeah, picture plant. I love them. Ladies slipper.
That's it all.
And in fact, we've got one of the local nurseries. I'm with the Chester District Orchid Society. Sorry, CANWAS, Cheshire and North Wales Orchid Society. And they got the meeting this Friday coming up. And the Saturday and Sunday, they've got we got a display on at a local garden centre, and there's a nurseries. There'll be loads of orchids there, so I'll go every year to that. Okay, next one, Mick. Right. That's a little miniature moth orchid, a phalaenopsis. It's a miniature one, a small one. Yeah, most people get into orchids via phalaenopsis, the moth orchids. They're fascinating things. Most people kill them. There's what the supermarkets want you to do. They'll sell you the plants in a pot, so you water them in that pot and you kill them. They grow at the top of trees in Singapore, something like that, in dapple shade. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the heavens open. The plants grow up upside down. You'll never get water in the crown.
Oh.
You get water in the crown in this country, you'll kill them. We make them grow up, not down. And the leaves act like blotting paper. So it can never stand in water at the top of a tree. Okay, next one, Mick. They're in 9-inch pots there. That's the tree ferns. I've just brought them in over winter. When they get bigger, I can keep them outside. You know, there's 7 of those pots there with them in. And in some of the pots, there's 3 or 4 plants. But by the time they're big, I won't be around because they don't grow very fast. But they're nice, they're nice plants. I enjoy them. Okay, next one. That was it.
Busted.
Okay, cheers, Mick.
Cheers, Andy. Brilliant. Anybody got any questions for him before we go on? Good setup there, Andy. Saves you going soft. You got to do something, even in the winter. Right, this is from the mob. Royal Navy for any new ones watching. It's just this is a learning curve, bit of history, bit of geography. In fact, I'll learn myself looking at this lot. Right, when I was in the mob, I was stationed down. Well, I was based at Plymouth. So for me to get home for a weekend, I had to go to London, Euston, Waterloo, then to Brum. By the time I got to Brum, all the pubs were shut. Then got to get from the train station home. That's why not very many weekends did I go from Plymouth. Then I found out about Portsmouth, which is just about there. And basically, you can swap. Like if somebody was based at Portsmouth and they lived down bloody Plymouth, I could do a straight swap with them, and that's what I did. It was easier for me to get on from Portsmouth than it was from Plymouth. But what we're looking at is this bit here. Isle of Wight. So there you got Pompey, and there's a Solent. Now that dark bit there tells you it's deep. In fact, very deep. Which we will now come on to. I took this one Saturday in the ship. That was me last shore base. I've come out of the mob in '78. So we're not finished on my last ship. You got about 2 months to spare or something, and they throw you on a shore base. That's where they threw me, HMS Collingwood. So for me to get home on a weekend again, it was either this is by train, come to Gosport, get the ferry across, then go to the station and go back to London again and ferry from there. But it was that much hassle to get to there, then get the ferry and get the train. I used to hire a car for the weekend, and I got a mate who lived in the next road, and he was based in HMS Collingwood. So me and him used to come home for the weekends. But that's where he was. But this is what we're looking at. The Solent. This is a deep anchorage. And there's Ryde from the Isle of Wight. Next one. these are for next week. Right, George III reviewing the fleet at Spithead. That's what we're getting at, or I'm getting at. This is one of the first ones, 1773. Basically, whoever's in charge, George III, there he is. There's his colours. But the little chaps are rowing him, obviously, because they ain't got much power in small boats then. And these lot, all he's doing is reviewing the fleet. And they used to have a review of the fleet just to show off. So if there's any spies about, Spanish, French, whoever, they think, bloody hell, they've got a good fleet, we could attack them. And that's one of the reasons they did it. But them chaps would row all the length of those ships, however many were, they're going to be knackered. Gordon Bennett. No, that was one of the first ones. 1856, the first recorded evening illumination, meaning it was that spectacular, like these lot down here. They've all got the flags out the bunting and they'd illuminate everything because it looked good. It looked good for the people watching it, but this was over 100 gunboats were present. So that was 26th of April 1856 that was reported. And there's the Solent again. So there's Ryde, Isle of Wight, there's Pompey. And that was the length of the ships that was on display. It's usually two lengths. The Spithead Review of 1897 was reported as one of the great historical naval spectacles. A fleet of warships lined up the greatest display of sea power the world had ever seen. The event was to mark Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee, 16 years on the throne. Yeah, out of it. It was claimed to be the largest number of warships ever gathered at anchor together in two 7-mile long lines. 7 mile, Gordon Benny. That just shows you how many ships was on it. Good job they were rowing that one. Between Pompey and the Isle of Wight, there were 170 British naval ships, including 50 battleships. 50. Gordon Benny, we've even got 5 now. Nearly all less than 10-year-old and immaculately arrayed with brass and bunting. Crews stood in ranks in wide straw hats and spotless white uniforms. This is interesting. That's why I marked this as well. In a publicity stunt, clear off. Oh, that keeps coming up. Charles Algernon Parsons bought his revolutionary turbine boat to Binia, uninvited to the review, as the Prince of Wales, Lords of the Admiralty and other dignitaries looked on. Turbinia, much faster than anything else afloat, raced between the lines of big ships. She easily evaded the Royal Navy's patrol boats. Parsons, who invented the steam turbine in 1884, had made a dramatic point, and in 1905 the Admiralty confirmed all future Royal Navy ships would be turbine powered. The following year the first turbine powered was put on. Meaning, he told all the big boys what he'd done, and none of these ragwarts who was at the event took any notice of him. So he just showed off to prove that you can't catch me. So if you can't catch me, you know, there's something wrong with you. Anyway, 20 years later, when all the brains had either gone, they then put their heads together and said, right, let's do what we're supposed to do. And have a turbine each. And that's what they did. Then I found this picture out of somebody else. There's a photo of him, I just see he's running amok in the fleet review. So there he is there. You see the wake is leaving and the waiter is pushing up from the bows. And for them to try and catch him, and the top brass must have been pulling the bloody air out. That's why they ignored him for 20 years. Looked brilliant. I'd do something like that. The Times reported a vast armada of ships from all over the world lying Spithead today, the 200th anniversary of the Battle of Trafalgar and the death of Britain's greatest naval hero, Admiral Lord Nelson. A total of 167 ships from the Royal Navy and 35 other nations moored alongside the Solent to be inspected by the Queen in the largest peacetime international review in history. Brilliant. This one, another Spithead Fleet Review, 1953. Meaning this is Queen Elizabeth's coronation. And it's got to take something like that. Meaning, when Charlie has his coronation, well, no, we ain't going to have another review. Because we ain't got enough ships, it'll be embarrassing. We'll come on to that later on how we get around of it. But you can see that one there, 1953. See how many ships we got? Gordon Bennett, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 carriers for the start. And that one there's 2, 4, 6. 7 on that one. We can see the view from the land of these. It was a good day. I think that was there just for the day, because you can't get away with it doing it any longer. So that's the reviews that has taken place. And luckily for me, the June 1977 Lizzie's Silver Jubilee. Luckily I was on the Tartar then. I come out the mob in 78. So that's the ships and naval aircraft taking part. So you got ships, submarines, or anything. And there's HMS Tartar. Now commander. He was a skipper, but he was a Commander Moore. And when I was given a compost talk, a display at Alexander Palace in London, this was for the Edible Garden show, run by James Wong. And I did my talk there, looking around the stands, and I met the son of our skipper, and I told him about the empty paint drums I used to clear out. And I used to store bottles of rum in there, line it with rags and store the rum. And we had captain's rounds every Saturday. All you had to do was bloody tap one, and I'd have been right in the quagmire. But he curled up the sun, and he said the old man would have loved that story. He died a couple of months ago. But he was a good lad, he was, good skipper, one of the lads. And that was Ocelot and our review in 77. Way down here somewhere. Let's go on the next one. So there we are, there's Pompey, there's Gosport, there's Ryde, and that's where they go from, up here, down here, deepest part. And that's another photo, Gosport again, all the way to here. And that's a line-up of all the ships, so we'll get a bit closer on him. And there's us there, the Tartar. So I come up here, called Lizzie, and leg it back down here. And it'd been Britannia, the Royal Yacht. And there we can see it there. So at the time, 77, we got 3 carriers. See all the subs down this side. But that now, if we've got a third of that, that's it. But that's a beautiful day, look at it. Nice clear colour picture. So, well, anybody from the land, Gosport, Isle of Wight, Pompey side, in Boston. I can never remember any one of these being on the news. I don't know if it's because we're in the Midlands or whatever. It's got to be a spectacle aid. Although there was one, which will come on to the end. Right, this was June the 4th, as you can see, 2012. Britain's Royal Navy can't muster a dozen ships for a naval review to honour the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. That's how embarrassing it is now. we still need ships because we've still got the British Commonwealth meaning one of the islands until they, well, we still look after them anyway, even though they got their independence. But if one of them needs our help, we've got to get there quick. And I say we, HMS Tartar, that's us last line in the ship. We'd given 3 cheers, all took our caps off. White uniforms, which is number 6 uniforms, tropical gear. We were just going past the Britannia. We escorted her out to Mexico. So there's Queen and Hub, who were just doing a flight past us. We were there. So we escorted her around the West Indies, went to Mexico, and I was on shore leave. You have to go ashore in a uniform, obviously, show the flag. And by the time the Queen come out in her little limousine, doing the tour of the roads, we was in this boozer, first when the locals got us on tequila, first time ever. And they come past and it was bloody K-like, we'd had it. Couldn't muster a bag of nuts. But that was a good experience. Royal Naval, Principal Naval Warfare Service Branch of the Armed Forces. As of October 2022, there are 72 commissioned ships in the Royal Navy. That is it. Don't forget, there's quite a few in refit, quite a few away from home and whatever. But basically, as long as we've got the subs as a deterrent, which is what our deterrent is, Polaris subs, I suppose we don't need so many nowadays. But it's crap now. I'm not saying it's crap, but it's worse now than when I was in. I mean, I went to over 100 countries. When I was in the mob in 12 years. There ain't many places now will take ships if they know they've got nuclear weapons on. Still, and next week I'm covering this one. And this is same area, Gosport. Go on to that later on. This is good, isn't it? Birds, making a bird. And another one. Lick them off the net and all. Oh, by the way, the Britannia finished in 1997, which costing too much. Cutbacks. Right, this is one of my first motors. This is off an advert. What's the advert? Yeah, Bristol Street Motors. And whether the only colour they bought is that the same car there? I don't know. But that's what mine was, identical. And it was a really Boston motor. My uncle gave it me. He couldn't drive in the end. Arthritis or something. He couldn't. Well, once he got in, he couldn't get out. And luckily, he gave me the car. And it lasted me yonks, and not much went wrong with it. And this is oh, that's crap. This is a photo I've nicked from one of my talks, raised bed talk. Because there's our house now, where we still am. I clicked on there if I can see it now. I'm trying to hide this because that car is on the drive and of course in the car there's just putting things in it. Gordon Bennett. Just take my word for it, that car's there. That's why we had this house, because this allotment came with it. And my plot, which is there, once you've got the bug, it doesn't matter what size plot it is, it's never big enough. So I nicked some spare ground off the pathway, and that was my first raised bed I nicked, built. All these bricks I used to borrow when we had shouts in the fire service. It was a tunic we wore, you could fit one full house brick in your pocket. Once I got enough, I'd do a raised bed. The main pot leaks went out there, these were my spares, and the spares overtook them because these got a better brewing than what that soil had. That's what put me onto all raised beds. Nicked this off the internet and all. This fallen tree refused to die. Instead grew 4 more trees out of his soil. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what happens when you don't quit. I thought I've seen something similar to that. When I took the hound for a walk, there's one there. And all these chaps are doing exactly the same. So the view a bit clearer. And then looking end on, and it's just that one little bit there is still into the ground. That's a clearer picture. One main route. So he is still feeding this lot, looking after him. So he's going to survive. So he throws new shoots up. Nature is great. That's another one. This one had thrown 2 shoots up, and then he legged it in between these and went underground for some reason. Don't know. Nature, great. Look at him, what a Boston tree to climb. That's what I'd go for when I was younger. Right, this is our kitchen table. This is where Russian sits here, next to me here. When Pet goes out, there's a corset out the kitchen window. I'm looking out, and I can now, I knows if it gets on my shoulder, I can see out the kitchen window. So that's what it does now. Like this. And that's me, obviously, watching the box or doing something. And Russian's next to me. Pet goes past her and puts a paw up to shake hands as you're walking past. And now walks. Right, another panel done. Stop there because it must side raining, otherwise I'd have jobbed that last one as well. And there's the last of me bricks I got from B&Q. So we got to come down this way a bit. All this waterfall is basically, I've took all this wood chip away from it. I've got to have the panels as dry as I can. So that lot are more clear. I've put all this lot away. So it is away from the top of that. That's why I want to get this wall down here, another one length. And this one a bit clear down here, I don't need that. It's just to look after it basically. So I've got to pull me hose to my water. My water tap comes up here to the top of the garden, and that's me electric to the greenhouse. I'm a plug down the bottom here. So I'm just putting that up on the top for the moment, because I've got to put some footing down there, get all the crap out. That's what we've done there. Bit of rubble I can find, just to fill the crap I'm getting out. There's loads of bluebell, whitebell bulbs, drug chaps. Don't need them. But I need the golf what's in there. I can use the wood chip again and the mulch. Because I want to sell him getting to work. Another tin of row we opened up. I thought them lot I would get 2 lots of 3. So we had one lot for tea. The other 6 which I put out on a tray, frozen in the fridge. Next day I said put them 3 together like him. Put them back in the freezer. Well, there's 4 in that one, as you can see, 3 in that one. So now we can freeze them again. Right, Cops and Briley Bonk. Briley is our nearest police station. This was last Tuesday. There was some ragwort a good distance away, letting off fireworks. This was 10 o'clock in the morning the first time we did it, but they was display fireworks. Supposedly the public can't get hold of them, because if they display fireworks they're louder, and it was just the bangers that I was concerned about. Because Rosie crapped herself again, as though it was New Year or whatever. But this asshole, he started 10 o'clock on the morning. I'm on a local Facebook group, Father's Barn Crescent group, Father's Barn group, sorry. And there's quite a few people saying straight away, what the hell's going on? People with dogs all beyond nights and all this crap and all that stuff. And there's no, well, there ain't no police stations by us where you can ring straight to the station. There's no number. They've took it off. You've got to go online to get in touch with them. So I rang 101, and this was it here. And I was 8 in the queue. I kept on because I was doing other things. It took me 40 minutes to get through. Obviously, by then, he finished bloody doing them. It probably lasted 30 seconds, which 30 seconds of bangs, bloody big bangs, is a long time for anybody who don't like them. Anyway, I got in touch with these. It took me 40 minutes to get an answer, a reply. Then you got to talk to them online. They said they'd help me out. I said, is there a time limit to get help? And says, no, there isn't a time limit. You either want us to help or you want us to get yourself in trouble. Yeah, I need your help. Mrs. stopped me going up this afternoon because I went up and found out where he lived. I'm glad she did. Okay, what to do? He's passed it on to the neighbourhood team. They may not pick it up until tomorrow, but you need to trust the process, which I did. And dinner time, noon, did exactly the same again. He started doing it. I thought, I can't take this shit anymore. I know he's not breaking the law firework-wise. You can let him off on your bloody ones. It's changed a few years ago to Eid and all the religious ceremonies. I think it's 1 o'clock in the morning. They can set fireworks off now. Anyway, back to this gump. I thought, sod this. So I rang 999. They gave me a bollocking because I rang 999. I says, they said, what's the emergency? And I told them. And he says, well, why have you rung 999? I says, well, I'm going up now to sort him out. I found out where he lives. I've got no help with the cops at all. 101. I says, so I'm going to get up there and I'm going to confront him. And if he answers back or gives me a mouthful, then you're going to be needed. And I'll be in the shit, basically. So I do need you anyway. Anyway, I put the phone down on him. I apologised. I said, you can get back to work and put the phone down on him. The next day, I got in touch with the council. This was the next thing I had to do. This when I was on this thing here, so you got to get in touch with the council. That was a procedure. So I rang the first thing, and I'll give the chap his due who answered the phone. As I told him what had happened, and I says, right, yesterday, 4 different lots of fireworks, 10 a.m, noon, 2 p.m, 4 p.m. He did 4 bloody lots. And the missus threatened me not to go up. And I said, he's causing shit between me and the missus, obviously, because I want to sort it out. I says, if he does it again, I'm going straight up there. I couldn't give a shit about cops, you lot, anything. And I'm going to sort the trot out. There's quite loads of people on the Facebook group. And I says, all I'm going to do is put it on the group when I'm going up and say, I'm not really a fighter, but if there's anybody else free and local, meet me up there. And this chap who I explained it to, he's a good lad. He put me right to the front of the queue. And on that afternoon, cops rung me up. Said, can you give us the address of this bloke? I said, yeah. Told him. He says, right, we're going to have a word with him. Basically, he's disturbing the peace, upsetting everyone, all this crap. There's a couple of things. Although they can't do him law-wise with fireworks, but he's in the road. I put it on the group, meaning people knew cops was going up. So a couple of them went out with the dogs just to have a nose, if that makes sense. And they did. And they saw the cop car pull up. 2 coppers went to his door. He opened the door and slammed the door in the face. and they walked off. So I thought, Jesus H. So next morning, well, that evening, I went online, local MP, rung their number, secretary, explained to her, you've got to put it in email to him. So I did that. Explained to him, and I said, if I'd have gone up there, I'd have been in the shit because I'd have planted one on him. And I said, this is not on order. I said, years ago, you couldn't set off fireworks, because I can remember coming home from nights, and if somebody woke me up with a bloody firework display, I'd have gone bloody spare, I'd have gone straight down there. I said, I know the laws changed recently. When I say recently, 10 years or something like that, might be less. You know, to let people set more off at any time they bloody want. So I says, all I want is, how do I start a petition to ban them? I says, I ain't having this shit in a road up. It's still ongoing. But that peed me off that day. It takes a lot to roll me. But when we was in the mob, they used to tell us, quiet ones you've got to watch. And they looked at me when you seen it. If you found out I burnt the bloke's arm, the mate's arm with an iron. And he was a mate, Gordon Bennett. Right, back on the gardening, canners. Coal greenhouse. Yes.
Is he a drug dealer?
Eh?
Is he a drug dealer?
No. I know what you're thinking.
Drug dealers that forward stuff, they know what I mean.
I know. They're not too far away from the brain who is there. But he's all the locals are scared of him because he's a bit of a lad. If that makes sense.
He's a drug dealer.
Yeah.
So you was.
Right, me canna. These are all right, but this one here, I've got a bit of mould on him. As you can see, it's still a bit blurred, but you can see what. So I googled our mate who was on the canner group from Canada. He said, just chop them off. You know, nice shot, and I got a Stanley knife, and I just chop the top off. So now back to normal. And that should be better now because I've got a minimum 50 in the greenhouse. Just like that, which I should have had when we had them cold bloody days. We've got frost again now. Is it tomorrow or onwards?
Snow tomorrow.
Crap. Yeah. High ground, we hope. But at least if there's frost, you know it's going to be nice during the day. So I'll catch up on other things that road. Have you seen this one before, Paul? Look at him.
Yeah, I've got it.
Get out of it.
Yeah, Cleopatra.
That ain't Cleopatra.
No, it's Cleopatra. I've got that. It's yellow with a red spot and a red flower. I've got that.
Corker.
Very similar to Cleopatra.
Well, because I run the trading sheds, I'm still looking for a new buyer, supplier, fertilisers and compost. I've got to keep my prices under Wilco and B&Q. So this is one I took. This is B&Q. Took some prices there, but I'm still undercut them. And this was Wilco. They're John Innes. Pretty rip-off sons. Still cheaper than them. Seaweed meal, Grome or whatever. Yeah, I can beat all them. Wilco and just doing them. This was took last week. It's just their own brews. There's a few Westlands as we shop there, but I think only chicken and euro. But I'm still undercut them, which is what I'm gonna do. Hound. There's all the shy talks, which crap in the path. What road it? Those who speak Spanish, you know, shy talk stands for seagull. But we've had some rain lately. Right, brought some leaves back just to show you what I'm going to do. If you throw them in a compost heap or let them rot down, they're going to rot down very quick. There's only two sides to it. If you chop everything up, there's bloody loads of sides. That's why I chop my compost ingredients up. And if I do my wine as well, the ingredients now go into my wine if there's something need chopping up, like raisins, put raisins in. The raisin ain't going to do nothing. If you chop it up, then it's going to do loads, but there's more surface area. Exactly the same as this lot. That's why I do it. Right, Wilco exterior masonry. That's me undercoat. That's going on. Perfect. Obviously got a nice dry day. See me straight wall. You're obviously going to stand where I'm standing now to see it. Coming down slowly. I've done my last panel. Wall of that one. Right here, I've got my fig and my lemon. Need potting on. Right, different brews. I ain't got no brewing manure. This wet or nothing. I've just got dried manure, but that's okay. Don't matter. So different manures in there. Anything you've got. So I'm mixing these all together. 2 size pots with these 2 are going on. Next pot size up. There's big holes in the bottom of them, so they're being covered with a bit of paper. Then that lot is going into that. Next thing I'm going to do is just use my compost. Look at them. That's what I want to see. Beautiful. But I need the compost down the bottom. With the top is full of worms because I'm still going through the grub. Down there, there ain't much grub because I've been through it. So the worms are going to leg it up top. So there's less work for me, i.e. picking the worms out of there. Because it's only in a pot. So any worms I do find or biggish lumps, I'll put back in there. But all I'm using now for most things now, until I get me bedding plants, then I'll use some clover. But for everything now, just use my own compost. So I'll take him out, find out the level I want my pot. It's just a bit higher than that level. When you have watered him, he will drop down slightly. As you can see around there, you just need potting on. Right, that's about a level, and all I'm going to do there is firm that compost round. Put a bit of mic under his iris. Mycorrhizal fungi, help the roots out. Make sure he's nice and upright. And then just push down round the outside with my fingers. I'm not pushing him down. I'm just pushing down and in at the bottom. If that makes sense. Perfect. And there's the bedding which I had him off in the original place. That was just bog. So I brought him back on as well. Next one, my fig, he's telling you. Pop me on. Posting. Ideal. I'd open the roots up a bit on the bottom, just to open up, ease him out. Just to help the chap out. Exactly the same again. Push down the growing medium on the sides. Sure he's nice and upright. And near enough level with him. Might be slightly higher. Doesn't matter. Sorted. I'd another chop up, weekly chop up, throw that lot on. Get away through. Right, now do me one of my trials. That's my feed, worm feed, with a alpaca pellets, alfalfa pellets, eggshells, obviously all ground up. And this is the one I've bought in that's a different brew to mine, so I'm going to try them. So there's my feed. I've just top dressed with me chopped kitchen garden waste. Put a sprinkling of feed there of mine, and one of theirs from Worms Direct. It's got to be moist, so I'll give that lot of watering. Little watering. Then I'll put my carbon back on. He was drying out the top one, so I'll give him a drop of water. Covered him back up again. Come back to him later. Right, my chaps, I've just potted up my fig and my lemon. Both these two, hopefully, and August. Be able to pick ready for our show. All my fruit. Right, I'm going to water with cold water. Even in the greenhouse, it's going to be cold. So, bit of hot water in there. What I'm doing here is I'm pouring that on the back of my hand, but I've only got 2 hands, meaning if I did that, I wouldn't be able to take a photo. So it's like when you fed your babies, when you fed them milk in a bottle, you pour that on the back of your hand, make sure it water hot. Exactly the same as my plants. That's what I'm doing now. Just off lukewarm. But before I do that, it's got to have a top dressing. Now it's a bit of bark on, but I mean rabbit muck with a straw. So I'll bung that on, then get it an haircut all the way around, and get a good soaking. That and that. Empty the bottle on them both. Let them drain off, then throw them back in the garage. This lot in here, I've got to water. Because all my raised beds outside, don't forget I've taken all the roofs off the top. Meaning our mate upstairs will water all these for me. That's what he's doing. But because it's in the tunnel of the greenhouse, I've got to water. So I've watered my blackberry. 3 blackberries which are in there. These are the cascading ones, don't forget. What's the name? Oh, look at that. Cascade. What a brain. And them 2 ready for when my strawberries come. I've just got a bit of muck in there, and I've top dressed with straw to stop them drying out as well. So that's had a good watering as well. But this lot has got to be watered.
Is that 3 plants in that one pot, Mick?
Yeah, the blackberry, yeah.
Because, I mean, they will sucker, and you'll get loads in there.
Oh. If I've got to try prune them, then I'll prune them later on.
I mean, when you plant them, you normally cut them down to about 6-9 inches from the ground, don't you, to encourage them to shoot more from the bottom?
Yeah. But when I first bought these out, I was looking at photos of them, and this was the size of the pot. Someone had 3 in. I've just took that from there. We'll see how we go. So this lot has had a good watering. And our next inputter, Rowley from Milton Keynes. You ready, Rowley?
Yeah, I thought you forgot me. The clock's ticking.
No. Best till left.
No, there's hardly anybody left. There's only 6 of us left now.
No matter. It'll be 300 tomorrow on YouTube.
Never mind. What I've done is arguably another burn to make more biochar. Obviously, this is the basic barrel section that I'm using to do this with. There is a problem, in actual fact, further down the line with burning it like this, but I'll come to that later. So you can see basically that's just the start of the burn. If you move on to number 2, it's well going now. And with this type of burn, what you do is, as it is there looking like that now, in a few minutes time, that would turn with a lot of grey ash on the top, or starting to get grey ash. That's the time to top it up with wood to keep the fire going until you've get as much as you like. The next picture then, Mick. Right, so that's basically the burn finished. And of course, what it is it's still burning and it's still hot. So it needs cooling down now. So if you go to the next picture, right, it looks like you've gained some there, but basically I've flooded it with water, and as probably people know by now that I only ever use spring water anyway. So it's flooded with spring water to put the fire out. And once it's out, you obviously drain it. But this has got to be one of the gains with the biochar. You tried drying the bugger, now you've wet it. You know, and you can either do a wet burn or a wet finish burn or a dry one. And this obviously is a wet one. But you tried breaking it down after you've wet it like that. And it's one hell of a job. And the bit that worries me about it is if you've really done this where the fire's been put out with water, you can only fill a sponge once as far as I'm concerned. So is the water in the biochar taking up what I could put more feed into, if you're with me? You know, so it's a bit of open to put whatever, and it does dry slightly, but I'm just wondering whether or not by putting it out, by suffocating, if I use a different type of barrel to burn it, or same 45 gallon barrel, but done slightly different, where I feed it from the top and I can seal the bottom, and then I put one of these lids with a clamp on the top and actually like suffocate the fire as opposed to putting it out wet. And obviously I've got dry biochar, haven't I?
Yeah.
So then whilst you can process it the same, I'm beginning to wonder, or what I'm toying with the idea of doing is do 2 burns, one wet burn, one dry one, and then mix it. You know, it's I can't seem to see anybody recommending one way or the other, and there's so many people do it this way that maybe I'm thinking there's problems that there's not, if you're with me.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
just
if
thinking
they've
of-
trialled it and sticking to it.
You know, like the stuff that I gave you
Yeah.
was a dry burn, and then, or say dry, putting it out, if you're with me, suffocated it to put it out. And then it soaked for a week in obviously liquid horsemuck, didn't it? So that should be well charged, high nitrogen stuff. And how wet it stops, it must be, if you've got something that needs moisture at the root, you know, more than, you know, just sort of marrows and cucumbers and things, I would have thought that this is a good thing to have in your compost to hold the moisture in, like, you know?
Yeah.
Anyhow, if we enough with that bit to a minute, if we move on to the next picture.
Yeah, I'd just say when I first started looking at biochar, when the natives started doing it years ago with their fires,
they
then just started throwing the ash onto the garden just to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And they noticed the stuff was growing that well. Originally, that's where it come from, but theirs was just dried. It dried naturally.
Yeah, terra petra. Well, they throw soil on it to suffocate it.
Yeah.
But the only what can I say, letdown, if you like, with biochar, because it's obviously wood based, it will suck all the goodness out of the soil. So that's the idea of charging it with a liquid, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
With a decent liquid. I mean, I did message backwards and forwards to Gareth Hoptroff, because I have still got some, oh bloody hell, the name of it now. I'll have to have a quick look. Charge.
Yeah.
I've still got some charge and some of his bio liquid feeds, or powder in it. You mix it up to make liquid feed with it. And I'm going to, instead of using the liquid horse muck next time, or for this lot in actual fact that's done now, I'm going to use the charge and his liquid feed, some rock dust, calcified seaweed, right? And I'm going to put a couple of handfuls, rightly or wrongly, of mycorrhizal in there. You know, I've got the same mycorrhizal as you use. 'Cause I buy, 25 kilo bags, the same as you do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a liquid up of that, and then soak it in that. Obviously, after it's all crushed and everything. If you move the next two, I'll explain it perhaps a little bit better. So what I've done there is made a coffin. So I tip that biochar lumps in there as far as it is, and just run a lawnmower up and down it is what I've been doing with that to break it down. And that's actually worked quite good considering how wet the char at the moment, how wet it is. So I've got probably from that burn it, that 45-gallon barrel, at one time I reckon, I know it's a job to say, but I think I put 50 litres of wood in it because it's all like offcuts, and it was like a 240 wheelie bin full plus a big dustbin full. So, the equivalent of about 350 litres of bit of pallet wood in there, and I've got out of it there about 40 litres when it's all crushed up and it's like compost powder. I've got about 40 litres of usable char there. Well, using it at 10 to 1, it's still enough to do 400 litres of compost, isn't it?
Yeah.
Diluting it 10 to 1. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put it in a bucket. Well, I've done another burn since then, so I've probably got 60 litres of it now. I'm going to do, instead of the horse muck, I'm going to use what I said. And when in actual fact, I'm substituting the horse muck for sheep because I've got another bucket of sheep muck there. So I'm going to make a liquid up and soak it the same as I did for yours.
Yeah.
But then when I use it, I make up, and I've used it all last year the same, is I make a mix of 50% biochar and 50% worm casts and put that in at 20% to all my composts. So all the compost that I'm finally going to use it on, arguably has got 10% worm cast and 10% biochar in it, isn't it? So this year is the big test for me as far as I'm concerned to see whether I'm on the right lines or not. And it will be mixed with the other arguably 3 components are my own homemade compost, which I'll put a third of that, and a third of the old weed growers coir, and a third of recycling ordinary bag compost. Well, it'll be clover because I only ever buy clover compost, or did. But in 2022, by using all my own stuff, I never bought any new bag compost at all, and I didn't notice any difference to what I did using clover multi-purpose and clover professional or anything. So
real excellent.
The next picture just shows me more with a lawnmower, doesn't it? Oh, that's basically, see how wet it is. You can see the lumpy bits.
Yeah.
And then what I've been doing is putting it through a 1/4-inch sieve, and then put the lumps back and run over it a second time and a third time, but when you do it and you suffocate it so it's dry, it'll go through an ordinary garden shredder, which is what yours went through a garden shredder rather than the lawnmower.
Yeah.
But all I hope is that what I was looking for as well, has anybody else got any other thing that they think I should add to it besides the rock dust and the seaweed, calcified seaweed, and the micro and charge and all that? Has anybody else got any ideas? Have you got any ideas?
I think you've got enough in there as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's working, then you're all right, aren't you?
Well, you'll
I know you're still trial and erroring.
Yeah. You'll see whether the liquid horse muck variant works, won't you? Because you've got it yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm enlarging the comfrey plantation this year as well. So I should get up to about 60 comfrey plants this year.
Yeah.
Is where I'm aiming for to do my mixes like this, and then throughout the rest of the year I will use comfrey juice, nettle juice,
Yeah.
probably all weeds, anything else I can think of, and Uncle Tom Cobley and all, like, you know, and liquid feed it.
You've got to.
You know, so it will mean, hopefully, I'm trying to get self-sufficient in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
So that no bought-in fertiliser and no bought-in compost. And so far, it's almost working, like, you know.
That sounds like a hell of a brew that you've got.
Well, I look at it, I'm a bit of a bad grower, so I've got to catch up people somewhere. So I'm thinking, feed the soil and that'll look after me. That'll make up for my mistakes.
Yeah. Excellent.
You know, but that's where we are. But, you know, well, that, like I say, that's just the explanation of it all, Mick. So that.
Yeah. Well, I'll bung that on just in case anybody wants it. They can get it off the YouTube post.
But you see, what I've found anyway, the difference between horse muck and sheep muck is practically nothing. But
Yeah.
a bit to make you cry, Mick, and really feel sad. Well, the next neighbouring farm, they burn alpaca shit rather than let anybody have it.
No.
Yeah, burn it. Yeah. So I've got on to somebody trying to get it and said, "I'll take it away for you rather than you burn it and save you a job."
Good. Benny.
You know, they've only got 7, and I've also got another friend. I did ask him once, because he's one of the gang when we go. There's about 4 of us go out monthly for a curry night, like, you know, and his wife's got half a dozen alpacas, but he said somebody already has it off of them. But I'm going to keep working on him and see if I can get some more of that, because when you go through it, the alpaca is different compost, isn't it, or different muck.
Yeah.
And it's all to do, they chew it longer and regurgitate it, and the stuff in their system when it's been regurgitated and all that makes the difference.
That's why you can use it straight away. There's no strength in it. Taking
It's cold. Yeah,
taking to burn the roots of plants or nothing.
Yeah, similar to sheep. So I should keep working at it. I'll keep working at it.
You've got to crack him.
Anyhow, thank you, and I hope everybody, or the 4 of us that are left, enjoyed it. And it's a shame they all done a runner, but there it is.
You're upsetting him.
Sorry.
Cheers for that, Rowley.
That's all right. Cheers now.
Good man. Lasagna. Right, Perv and me. Right, let's have a look at these, chap. Yep. Red worms about.
Oh, yeah.
Right, another dry day. So I'm going to wallop where needed. Back in my fruit trees, I'll wallop that lot as well. There's a photo just at the top. It was cracking on a couple of places, so I did that another good dollop as well. These 2 I've kept in mind, which I'd have Scott, them red poms, which I've took up. I'm going to see if the new wenches on our committee want them to. We have a committee meeting. Slowly they get in there. All that panels done on the sides. Asparagus Little was flogging them. I've only ever had that once. I thought, go on, I'll get another go. No, not to my liking, I'm afraid. Sorry. Right, taking the hand for a walk in the morning. I was marking out the pitches, ready for the matches yesterday and today. But the waiter that was all over the place. Although we used to play it when we was kids. Corn dog Sony. Right, looking at my trial. Potworms. Bloody loads on them. Potworms are good. For the compost all you saw. It's just another organism that eats waste, but you don't want too much of them, which I've got here. Look at that lot. The only way you can get rid of them is either put lime in or wood ash to combat it, or dry it out completely. If I dry it out, the worms will clear off. So I've got wood ash, that's going on during the week. Right, Gladys, I've got to check them. There's quite a few people checking them who've had them in the garages, and there's quite a few naffins. So I'm squeezing them all, and I'm taking them down. Like if you see the bottom, you can see the base. So I only took the skins off to the base, and these are nice and solid. But them lot was duff, as you can see. So them went straight in the bin. That's all right to throw away. You can see the base is better on that one. Basically, it's just checking underneath, make sure they're nice and clean, which they are. Cream Perfection. This was one I planted last year. That took 92 days, 100 days, 107 days to flower. So I'm working back to the calendar. So there's 3 sowings this year for them. Des, Central News, you got another mention, our kid. Peter Bolton sent in a photo of Clintel's. There's my other layer and a walloping. Some more prices looking at. Keeping in line with them, which I can. Right, because I haven't watered this looks a bit better now. It's dried out. Don't forget, before I had to water the feed, obviously to get it moist. Whether I put too much weight on, I don't know. But these are clearing off slowly. As long as the worms come back. And I'm just walloping all the walls once they've been grouted. And eventually this lot will be this colour. This is, I know it's going to turn me off because it'll look better outside than inside the house. But get in there. That was me walloping under moonlight. Just about to see. Right, Farmer Gracie, got these in. He'll do me. So I've ordered me 3 bulbs of these. $2.63 each. Dave, if you want one of these, I'll keep one. And I've had me 9 bulbs. 10 bulbs of these as well. Tula. So I've had that lot for $16.39. Quite chuffed with that. And that offer's still on this weekend. Farmer Gracie, if anybody's interested. Right, I've had to nick these photos off. These have been kept dry. No water whatsoever. Cold greenhouse. Obviously canners, and they've started shooting. This is from blokes at Canada. And I was on about using baking soda, looking after your green sulphur, does the trick. Different things people put on, cinnamon powder, they're very different things. So our baking powder, I rang them up because there's a phone number in UK. Good morning, I've been told bicarbonate soda is good for stopping mould on the drying daily tubers in the greenhouse. Your thoughts, please. Still waiting for it to come back. Shouldn't have that for next week. Other canners, what temperature these kept at, please? Between 6 and 12, say 10. No water whatsoever, just frost free basically. And these are drying out. Small condition, what did I put? Have you watered these at all, please? None, meaning no. Just leave them when they're ready to start shooting. B&Q, when I went to get me paint, me for the fence, my wall, I've got the gladies in. Quite a few places now I've got gladies in. Right, talks coming up. Lichfield, Leicester, Uttoxeter, York, Brum, Coventry, North Wales, Coventry, Wolverhampton, Rugeley, Salford. I'll always mention them before I leg it any road. This was off Lizzie. Queen's Tears have started flowering. Lovely little flower. Hoping to get mine done this as well. Photograph of Fatherless Barn. Colligate Gradley. Father's barn, how did he get his name? The farm was sited approximately where church is now. Its name is said to have come from the burial site. The brutal murder of a bailiff from Alzoin, the farmer and his sons were found guilty of the murder and hung, leaving their families fatherless. Fatherless barn. Nick this off the internet. Somebody growing a first attempt at turmeric. Not that disappointing. I use a bit, not hordes on it. There's a hound. I'll nick this off the internet as well. Dog finds a baby dolphin stranded on the shore, saves his life. There's the little chap. Obviously, he was walking his dog and he legged it up to it. And the chap picked him up and bunged him back in the water. A good lad. Catalogues have started coming out, so I'm still looking at different plans for next year. I'm thinking about a raised bed in the middle. He's got he looks good, but loads of time yet. Right, with paint which I've mixed up in a B&Q and get it close to anything you take up to. It's the only place I've found where you can get masonry paint to the colour you want it. So I've put obviously I clicked all the crap off the lid, put that back in there, did a good stir, ready. That's what the rain does. It's still washing this off because that stuff, it's got that waxy crap on it. So that is completely dry, obviously. Now I've watered this. That's better. By the time this fence gets another coat, I can bring the colour up similar to that. This afternoon, sorting the carrots out. I slice them ready to freeze. I don't use the innards, the core. I put them in the compost bag. Pears, nice and soft, so I bought them first time ever. Usually pears are hard as ferret. Dendron bean in the kitchen is flowering nicely now. Right, flowers that are showing signs of growth in the garden. Quite a few, although we're going to have a couple of frosts, so they're all going to have a shock. And just the roses, buds, just about seeing. Fruit trees, there's buds on them and all, but he's out of focus. What I say, we're going to have some good frost. And that's it, people. Hope you've enjoyed that.
But cheers, Mick.
Yeah, it was
Nick,
good.
you know your fig, your brown turkey,
Yeah,
right? You're not going to plant it out in the ground, are you?
he's going in a pot.
Right, because if they need the roots containing, otherwise they get far too big. They'll get 30 foot high, 30 foot wide.
Oh, no, you're going to stay in the tub.
So make sure it's in a tub confining the roots.
Yeah. Like the others, they'll come in the greenhouse over winter. So
Yeah.
I'll look after the chaps.
I've got one in one of the greenhouses, 2 foot square paving slabs sunk
Yeah.
into the ground with a pile of rubble underneath to act for drainage.
Yeah.
And then planted in that.
Oh,
And it still gets too big.
yeah. You've got to train them, ain't you?
Oh, the train door, right?
You've got to. That's it. They do what they want if they don't train them.
Well, the thing is, if you don't prune them Christmas Day somewhere around there,
Yeah.
when there's no sap on them, you wait till the sap's rising, you cut them, they bleed like anything.
Yeah.
With the white sappy stuff.
Yeah.
So don't prune them when they're growing.
Nah, it's got to be dormant. Oh. Right then, peeps. Thanks for joining. And we're back next week.
Yeah, see you next week, Mick.
Hey? Oh. Cheers, Rowley.
Cheers,
Okay.
cheers, Andy.
Cheers, Els.
Cheers now. Bye.
Ta-ra a bit.